What's up, everyone? We are back with another episode of the Potato Aim podcast from Middle of Nowhere Entertainment. My name is Odinsbeard43. You can find me on Twitch at Odinsbeard43, along with Twitter and Instagram, also Odinsbeard43.
What's up, everybody? I am Raven F. You can find me on Twitch at Raven F, and you can find me at Twitter and Instagram at RavenF0_O. Yes, it is still the same thing.
Rip.
I know.
Hi, everybody. I am not Odinsbeard or Raven F. I'm Bumpy Rug. You can follow me at twitch.tv/BumpyRug or Instagram Bumpy Rug, or follow me on Twitter that I never use. It's at RugBumpy.
I feel like Odin's beard should have to be able to grow a beard.
Yes, and I'm Angry Pig XX. You can find me on Steam and YouTube at Angry Pig XX.
Corny.
I'm sure there's something else, but I don't remember.
Follow Angry
What's
Pig
your MySpace?
XX back on MySpace.
That's deleted.
AOL Messenger.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna kick things off like we always do now with kind of a review of what's going on in gaming lately. The big thing this weekend, where at least for me, I was able to watch a lot of it, was Fortnite World Cup was going on. I was able to watch all of the duos except for when I took a nap because I'm old. But the solos was the big thing, the big deal. Everyone was wondering how like Tfue would do if some of these young kids would drop in and come out of nowhere. Well, they did. Booga is from the U.S., ended up getting first place with 50 points. Second place at 33 points for Psalm. Third was Epic Whale, and fourth was Creo. Fifth was King. So I
thought he had like 59 or something like that. Like he had almost double.
Oh, it is
second place guy.
I have
statistics,
so it's not as bad with the camera. But yeah, it is 59.
I was just curious because I heard that he won by like almost double the second place guy, and I was impressed by that. But sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good.
Here,
I was just gonna say, for coming in first place, he ended up getting $3 million. I saw a meme earlier or not a meme, but like it was from ESPN on Facebook, and it showed he made $3 million. That's more than Novak Djokovic, who plays tennis, won for Wimbledon, which is the biggest tennis tournament. It's more than Tiger won for winning the Masters, and whatever the last PGA one was for whoever won it. It's more than all three of them. They all won like 2-point-something million. This kid just won $3 million in 4 hours playing fucking Fortnite.
Right. Dreams do come true.
And let's not forget, like, not only did he, come in number one, like first place, excuse me, Jesus Christ, I was trying to think of so many different things to say. Not only did he finish first place out of 100 players on the solos, there were over 40 million people that entered the qualifiers for the Solo World Cup for Fortnite. So he basically came in first out of 40 plus million people that attempted to get there. Like, that is just absolutely phenomenal, and like people are saying all this crap about it, like, oh my God, this game, yada, yada, or, I can't believe somebody just made $3 million for playing a fucking video game. Well, guess what? He finished number one out of 40 plus million people and did it very convincingly. Like, he absolutely blew everybody else out of the water. I want to go back and watch the video on demand because I was working. Literally, when I got home Sunday and I checked it out, it was the trophy ceremony, basically, where they announced his name. And it took me forever to figure out exactly what his name was because every time they kept saying his name, they were going, Booga! And I was like, what the hell is this dude's name? Because I never heard of him, honestly, but I guess he plays for some organization called SCN. I don't know who it was.
Can you do that again for me?
No, I'm not.
We just found our intro, boys.
Yes.
But yeah, I just gotta say it's absolutely amazing. So I didn't get to watch it, but I want to go back and watch it. But I want to kind of hear a little bit about what you saw, whoever actually watched it.
The part I know I watched it. Did either Angry Pig or Bumpy? Did you guys check it out at all?
You know Angry Pig didn't watch it.
Yeah,
he despises Fortnite.
I wanted to make him want to make him feel part of this conversation still, though.
I would have watched it, but I had my underwater basket weaving class to go to, and I'm not going to miss another week of that. What, Pat?
Don't even know how to respond. I just
I did watch it. It was what you expect from competitive Fortnite, where a lot of people were just playing safe and trying to get picks when they would rotate to zone. The kid that came in 5th place, King, he was in like 2nd, 3rd for most of the 6 games they played. He's the one that impressed me the most, though, because he was one of those kids. He was dropping in pretty much hot drops and just mowing guys down. And something that, like, I'm pretty sure he didn't get many points from placement. He still got 5th place with 30 points overall out of the 6 games. There was a couple games where he dropped like 7, 8 kills and just he got ended up getting like 35th or 36th in the game, but he still comes away with those points. And some of the plays he was making were just disgusting. There's another kid. I want to say his name was Rux, Rhux, if I remember correctly. He had, and one of my favorite things to do now with the shockwave grenades is, since you don't take fall damage, is use the shockwave, get height, and just shoot down on people, or try to get, when people have height, get up into their little build and just hit him with the shotgun a couple times. And he had this just perfectly, he just went right over the lip into this dude's 1x1 when he was sitting up top, and just hit him twice with his combat shotgun. It was game for that guy. So there were some ridiculous plays. What you'd expect from these kids that are playing this at that high of a level.
That's like I said, I got to go back and watch it because I heard that King was one of the crowd favorites from the 19,000+ people that were there in attendance to actually watch the whole thing. I heard that he was one of the favorites by many people. Like, people were cheering for him, yelling for him. He had a lot of fans, and honestly, I don't even know who he is.
I had no idea before that.
I don't pay very much close attention to competitive Fortnite. I don't know if you guys really do. I know Angry Pig doesn't.
All the time.
But aside from Tim,
hey, he knows something.
Lupo, aside from Tim, Lupo, Ninja, like the other big time streamers, Myth and like these other guys, I don't know anybody. So this guy coming out, I thought was amazing. And if he doesn't stream very often, he will get viewers whenever he does stream now, because he is the guy at the moment. I guess King was 13, 14 years old. He's another young one too.
The average age for both the duos and the solos was 16 years old.
That's crazy.
Crap.
Dude, that is absolutely phenomenal.
The kid that I was talking about that had that nasty shockwave, he was 24, and he was talking about, they did a video about him because apparently he comes from a pretty historical family lineage. His grandpa is a Hall of Famer in baseball or something. He was a 6-time All-Star for the Royals back in the day. But he's just talking about how he's 24 and he has to work even harder to make up for the speed that he's lacking with how smooth he plays and stuff. And he played really well. It was just, some of these guys are just, their edits were nuts. And I did pull up the duos also. Duos was one, I gotta turn this brightness up. Won by Nyrox and Aqua. They came out and won it in the last game. That I do know. Rojo and Wolfies won second, and then Elevate and Cease got third, and Saf and Zate got fourth. And those are all, the pot for them was the same. 3 million for the top team, so it's obviously split between the two of them. Cease was one that I wanted to watch going in. He's from 100 Thieves, if I can remember correctly, and he played extremely well. One thing that I did want to say, you guys remember hearing about the guy that was cheating in qualifiers by getting fed kills? The crowd erupted when he got eliminated.
I heard about that. I was listening to some stuff this morning.
It was hilarious. I was dying. I'm like, good. You shouldn't have been in the World Cup.
So
He got actually accused of cheating in the trios tournament last week too.
go figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the duos, obviously the winning duos is still fantastic and everything, but obviously the it's not as hyped up as winning the solos for the actual winning it itself, and then as well as the pot, because I can't remember, but I was looking at like placement of 20 down to 100. I don't know if after you get out up to 20 was any higher, but everybody down to 100th place got 50 grand. So everybody that was there for that tournament made 50 grand for playing Fortnite over that weekend.
Minimum.
That's more than our base salary for a year. Factoring overtime and all that stuff. We get higher, but it's just like, holy crap, Fortnite, this game that people always talk about as a kid's game, takes no skill, is garbage. Obviously, it takes a hell of a lot of skill if you actually play the game. It does take a hell of a lot of skill to actually be efficient and excellent at the game. But these guys, many of them under 16, so of course their parents got to sign for it or whatever until they actually are old enough. But they've proved that gaming can be something crazy big and actually get money off of, and it's just as competitive as anything else. People can compare it or say it's not a sport, I don't care, but you compare it to poker and some of these other things, chess that people play. Like, these guys literally just walked away from one weekend 50 grand richer, and that's just insane to me. That's more than many Gears of War tournaments, many Call of Duty tournaments that the vast majority of people actually walk away with. So I got to give big credit to Epic Games for what they actually did for the weekend. It's phenomenal. I'm
really excited to see where they go competitively. They said that this is just getting started. Mm-hmm. They did mention that on the cast. This is the closest that I've seen that it's gotten to for another game to get close to League of Legends with their competitive scene. League of Legends sold out Madison Square Garden in New York for their Worlds, and I sports fans out there, they know how big a place MSG is and how important that place. I don't want to say important, but how prestigious that arena is. This was at the Arthur Ashe Stadium or something in New York too. But the crowd was all hyped. It was completely filled. They had the big ass stage and everything. It was awesome and really cool to watch. And then the casters always blow it out of the water. They had Lupo and Courage and Golden Boy and everybody on there, and they were fantastic. They had Jordan Fisher doing interviews and shit. That was hilarious because he was just kind of fanboying, even though he's more famous than most of the kids out there.
So before we get moved on, I do got to ask, like, Bumpy Pig, like, what are your guys' thoughts on the whole thing, with the winning pots and everything? Like, how do you guys feel about that?
I mean, it's, like, kind of backtracking to what you said, how people might think of this, like, video game tournaments, like the CSGO tournaments, stuff like that, when they got popular, how it's not a sport in a sense. It does require quite a bit of skill to get to the level these guys are at. And when you think of, like, how big the pots are, what's your typical, like, I don't know, NFL contract for a year? It's quite a bit of money. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just for these guys to come in, because it's not like they get paid a certain amount of money for the entire year to be playing this. Granted, yeah, they have their sponsorships and their Twitch channels and their YouTube channels and their subs and stuff off that. But for them to come in and say, like, hey, this 16-year-old kid came in and won $3 million, he earned it. I mean, he probably played his mind out. I didn't personally see it, but, you have all of these big names that stream this game 8 hours a day, every day, and the 16-year-old kid came in and beat him. It wasn't just a fluke. He obviously is a good player, good enough to beat them out and win all this money. So, I mean, for those that are kind of, giving him grief, like, oh, he's 16, he just won $3 million, good for him. I mean, props to him. He probably didn't just pick this game up yesterday.
Right. I mean, I'm not going to say anything negative about it because I don't know about you guys 100% sure, but I'm pretty damn sure he's now got more money than at least majority of us combined.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like I mean,
I don't really have a
Speak for
mil chilling in the
yourself.
bank.
It does truly take a lot of dedication to stay that focused towards one game over such a long period of time. And it does take a lot of skill and hard work that you put forward to it. So I don't see why it can't. It's esports. I mean, money, entertainment, there's always a crowd focus towards watching something. And it's something relatively newer than a lot of like the sports and stuff like that. So it will have like a lot of like fan base and crowds like watching it. So there will be a lot of like big money into it. I mean, just with like your controller, your keyboard, it takes a lot of dexterity, a lot of hand-eye coordination, memory, knowing your maps, your zones, all that kind of stuff. So it comes down to skill.
yeah, no, absolutely. It's a much different analytical standpoint than most other games, you know, or most other sports. I should say.
Speaking about knowing the maps and everything, like Angry Pig just said, they were kept going to Fatal. They kept showing Fatal Fields for those of you who don't actually play Fortnite. There's a cornfield where you can't see more than a couple feet in front of you. Courage JD was talking to somebody that's their drop. That's where they always go and everything. They know where the loot is in the cornfield, exactly where to go, because they've played that so much. They've just gotten it down. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, that's nuts. Like, every now and then I forget about a fucking chest at Haunted, which is my drop, or Sunny, which is my site, like the other drop where if I can't reach Haunted. Like, that's nuts to think. You can't see in that shit. They just run up. They don't have to destroy any of the corn, which gives away your position. It's amazing.
I got to say that's amazing because I go to Fatal quite frequently, and I still don't know exactly where the hell that goddamn chest is in there, or where any of the loot is. Like, I'm constantly destroying everything going through it. So I got to say that it's phenomenal.
And it does truly take like a lot of focus, because when you're like playing games and stuff like that, like just like watching like other players play games, like the focus on listening and reaction timing is key when you're come down to close combat.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for any game. The any professional gamer, like, they have my respect because you know how many hours they're putting in a day. They may get a day off a week, but they're putting in that much time and effort to get that good at that game. It's insane. So I know that we got to play a certain test game. What was it? So I know you guys at least wanted to talk about it. I have a couple things to talk about it, but Bumpy, you're the one. I texted you the other yesterday. I'm like, hey, Apex tonight, and you're like, nope, we're playing Gear. Or this was 2 nights ago. Nope, Gears 5. So did you want to lead off with this, going into what was going on with Gears 5?
Yeah, it's always been a dream of mine to be a giant locust terrorizing people whenever I can, and I'm almost there with this. It's close to a locust face. But no, it was fun. I was really big into Gears 1. Like when that first came out, I played the crap out of it. I didn't do too much multiplayer with it, but I think it was Gears 3 I played more of the multiplayer. It's not a bad game. I got nothing bad to say about it. I definitely think it has its specific player base of people who are diehard Gear fans. Um, it's very unique game as to the third person, constantly taking cover. I mean, if you got caught outside of cover in a Gears game, you're pretty much done. Um, Unless you got the Nasher and you just run up on people like 24/7. But no, my first initial thought of the tester, it looked amazing. That was the first thing that caught my eye was like out of all the Gears games, and I know with like technology nowadays, it looked awesome. Just going through the training mission and everything, it was great. The guns, and Pat could probably attest to this because he's played it longer than I have. I didn't notice any newer guns added into the game. Maybe there was a few, but the ones that they had in the tester were pretty fun to use. The executions are always, fun for me. I just like laughing at the executions. I wasn't a big fan, and I don't know if it was a glitch or something with it, but we we had 3 people in our party. We got to go into quick play and we could be in a party. But I think it was Austin, when you joined our party and we had 4 in a squad, it even said like 4 out of 20. We tried to go into quick play and it said, no, your party's too big, which I'm hoping that was just for the tester, that they didn't want too big of squads in it. Because if the main game comes out and you can only have 3 people in your party, that's going to be kind of sketchy because team communication, everything. But we got into ranked, no problem. We had, I think, 5 when Pat joined too, and it was no problem. We got into ranked. But ranked, there were so many tryhards and sweaties on that it was so hard to get anything done. I mean, half of the time we were just flailing around knifing people.
My ears still hurt from Patrick at ranked.
Okay, if you're watching it, the one teammate that kept him up all night long, just rage. Like, I think he was still in the party after a while, and every so often you would just hear like this fucking guy, and it would just go on from there for like 10 minutes. He would just be talking about this guy. But no, overall, I liked it. It was fun. It was fun to get a new Gears game. I was really a big fan of Horde mode in the other one, so I definitely am gonna get it and jump into Horde mode with a couple of people.
Horde mode I love. I'm not big on like zombies in Call of Duty, and Horde mode is so similar to zombies. But I absolutely love Horde mode. I just haven't played it since like Gears 2, I think, honestly. But yeah, talking about that raging thing, dude, I was getting so angry at these 2 teammates that I had, man, especially that one. Like, I don't know what happened. It was a glitch, lag, or whatever, dude. But man, when he got me stuck, pinned up against the wall, and I lost my triple kill because of it.
You liked it.
I did a little bit. And then when the teammate was literally right behind me and watched the enemy come up behind me, reload his weapon, and then kill me, yes, I went absolutely apeshit. And for those of you that don't know, Gears 5 has a kill cam, so you can watch, what happens similar to Call of Duty and things like that, like several other games. So I got to see my teammate just stand there and stare at this guy while he reloaded his weapon and then killed me with the Lancer. Not a Nasher. He didn't reload a Nasher. He killed me with a Lancer from behind.
BM.
So, yeah, I was a little angry. But I do got to say that I did thoroughly enjoy the tech test, so much so that I went back and played a little bit of Gears 4 today. And I am starting to remember why I absolutely love Gears. Like, I had a couple rough matches today, a couple rough matches the other night when I was playing ranked. But it's such a different style game that it takes getting used to the movement and the mechanics and everything else. Like, you got to know where you can jump over ledges. You got to know how to bounce up against the walls and to help yourself maneuver quickly. And like, when you're running with an Asher, which is pretty much what everyone uses, like, the Lancer is only good in long range, like mid to long range. And still, even then, it's not that viable because you can take cover so easily. You have to know how to maneuver. It's one of those games that, like, one wrong move will completely fuck you up and completely ruin your momentum. Playing it last night, I wasn't paying attention to where one of the enemies was. He came right up against me. I forgot because it had been a while since I really played Gears. He jumped over the ledge, kicked me in the head, stunned me, and shotgunned me. Like, hit me with a Nasher right in the face, and I blew into like 50 pieces. So it took a little getting used to, like I said. But today, I started running through people while I was playing Gears 4 last night. When I was playing the ranked, I started running through people. I only got ranked silver because we had a few bad games, like when we played the other night, or last night, whenever it was. I had a couple of bad matches, but then I started dropping 60 kills. I'm not going to say it's everyone else's fault. I said we had bad matches. I only dropped like 15 to 20 kills. Like, there was a couple of games where you guys had more kills than I did, where I only had like 15, 18. Like, you had 23. Bumpy had like 25, 30. Ty had like 25. Like, I was like, how in the fuck am I like the bottom of the fucking list right now, man? Like, I'm getting pissed right now.
This is Fortnite. What's wrong?
I was laughing though because, like, John, one game, I think it was the one that him and Ty played. We were just in quick play, and John's like, "Man, dude, I'm really liking this. Like, I'm tearing people apart right now. This is awesome." And then the match ended, and the scores came up, and it was me with like 25, Ty with like 27, John with 8. And I just sat there looking at the screen, and John was like, "All right, guys, that was a good game. We'll go to the bathroom." And he left. I'm just sitting there like, Tyler, do you see what I see? And he goes, yeah, we're just going to tell him that he got like 40 kills.
Wow. I mean, all I'm gonna say is I sent you
Sorry,
And
guys.
now
John.
the cat is out of the bag.
Sorry, John.
Wow. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you guys saw the picture I sent you. I dropped like 66 kills and like 20 downs or whatever the hell it was. Like, my whole team was going off. You still think what?
I still think that's edited.
That's fine. You can think it all you want, man.
Shit, for me to get like 20
Photoshopped.
kills, that game, I was just running up with the Nasher and just trying to get headshots on people.
That's what
Everybody
Gears
was doing.
That's what Gears has always been, though, especially like the
Yeah.
competitive scene, man. But it is what it is.
I mean, it was fun. I'm interested. Like, Gears has never really had a story that's gripped me personally, but I am interested to see how the story is going to go on this one. It's like I said, I played the crap out of Gears 1. I really like that story. Gears 2 came out. I was kind of like, eh. I think Gears 3 came out with like Dom's death. Spoilers if you haven't played it in the last like 5-10 years.
Did we
Way
go
beyond
over that
spoilers.
already?
I
Did we
think
like
so.
set a
Yeah, we
limit
did.
to spoilers?
It's
we
it's
did.
not really a spoiler. If you don't know Dom dies, then you've been living under a rock.
Also, spoiler: Vader's Luke's father.
Uh-oh.
Allegedly.
Ruined.
Allegedly. It's Jar Jar Binks in a hockey mask. But no, yeah, overall the tester was good. I gotta say though, if it wasn't on, because I think it's going to be on Game Pass, isn't it? Like the day
Yes.
it releases. If it wasn't
It
on
will.
Game Pass, I personally wouldn't go out and buy it myself.
Yes.
All I'm gonna say is that, especially since it is on Game Pass, like I because I'll have it. Like if whether it's on Game Pass or if I gotta buy it myself, like I will have it because I am that like crazy with Gears.
You're that games.
A lot of different games, yes. But give it a chance. Like when it comes out, when they get all those kinks worked out, and you can actually go through and play your quick play matches, I'm sure with a full squad, because that would make more sense. I think for the tech test they did that because it'll be harder to find like that one or two random people to fill in.
Right.
So I think that's why they did that. Just give it a shot, give it a chance, play through it, but understand exactly what style of a game it is. You know what I mean? Like
it's very different from your typical
Yes.
FPS.
Yes.
it's not a standard run and gun. Like and that's why there's such a cult following for the competitive scene, and why it appeals to such a specific audience, like Cream, Nick Merckx, and like a lot of these other guys. I think Tim the Tap Man played for a while. I can't quite remember.
I don't know if Tim did or not.
He didn't. He went from Overwatch to PUBG to Fortnite. He played a tiny bit of PUBG, but
He started out playing.
Well, I
Call of
mean, like,
Duty every
here's-
other
yeah.
YouTuber in the world.
But yeah, it's a very specific type of community, and if you can't deal with toxicity, you should probably stay away from Gears.
Ba 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 ba.
oh,
Is that the sound it actually makes?
that's the sound he makes when he gets a fucking.
Like a really bad, a really dysfunctional turkey.
Yes, it's hilarious. But yeah, I want to give it a shot. Now, do you think not playing the other games would hurt the story in this one with me?
Yes, because there's so much, but I think you can. I think you'll be able to go through and watch kind of a synopsis video and kind of understand what's going on throughout the story.
Because I played one a bit back in the day when it was like in high school. We got LAN parties and we'd play one in multiplayer when we got we were like, we played Halo for 8 straight hours. Let's play some Gears.
There's
Right.
one Halo drop for the video.
Just look up the endings on YouTube.
Well, and I feel like back when Gears came out too, there was like your two groups of like Xbox fans in a sense. They were the Gears guys that played Gears all the time, and then there was the Halo guys that played Halo all the time. At least back when I was in high school, you had your two groups of people.
Yep.
Halo.
Yeah, Halo hard.
And Gears.
I'm interested to see what game modes they have, because I know they only show like a couple. Like King of the Hill was one of the ranked ones, and then Quick Play was just like deathmatch. Um, one thing I do want to touch on is the whole buying your weapons thing. I don't know if that's new to their multiplayer,
Hmm.
like the points off your kills, and then you buy your guns. I actually really like that. I didn't know how I was gonna feel about it at first, but then playing it a couple times, it was like, wow, I actually can buy more than one gun at a time, and this is kind of nice.
The only thing that I could see that being a problem with is if some of the guns are now like, is there better shotguns and shit?
I noticed like two different style shotguns.
Is it like a lot more damage or anything like that though? Or
I
is
think
it
that 4 barrel one isn't there like a 4 barrel one? There's like a
Yeah,
big one. I think that
uh,
one's more damage probably.
because I could just see somebody that's actually really good at the game go get that and then just mow down kids
it's
that are just trying to play.
because I used it when I played the quick play by myself, and like it's okay, but I still prefer the Nasher. Like if you give me the Nasher versus that 4 barrel one, I'll use the Nasher 100 times out of 100. To be quite honest, now maybe with that 4 barrel one, if you have somebody that's a little bit smaller, better speed, maneuverability, because I did notice that they have different classes.
Who is
Uh,
that?
I have no idea.
Is
You have a
that
dying muskrat in the back corner there, Pat.
Something going on back there. I don't know.
I didn't know whose audio that was coming through. I'm just sitting here.
If that
Yeah.
was mine, I'd be really scared. Nobody's here, and I'm
I-
just
I-
constantly looking up at the stairs.
I just wanted to see Angry Pig just.
Suicide's playing prop hunt. Suicide's playing prop hunt, and there's this kid like going absolutely ape shit right now. So that's all it was. And, yeah, don't mind any of that. That was hilarious though, because I could hear it over my headphones. So yeah, that was.
Sitting there like that sounds like a little dog. What the fuck? You
It
have
did.
bigger dogs.
I know it really. Yeah, I don't know. Like that kid, man. I guess he hasn't hit 12 or 13 yet. I don't know. Bumpy knows how that is.
Haven't we all? Haven't we all?
Was it
There
me?
it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back on topic. God, I
But
can't
yeah,
even remember where
No.
we were right now.
what I was saying was like, if there are guns that are actually upgrades and better, the
Mhm.
better people are going to be getting those, and that's just going to hurt the people that aren't that good at the game and could end up making them just quit playing.
Yeah, or they just have to play twice as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the whole and I could be completely wrong off this. I think their whole system for doing the whole you get points based on kills to buy the guns that you have equipped to your character is just so that you can eliminate guns being placed in the map, so that you don't have everybody going for that one power weapon in the middle of the map. It's like all I gotta do is get 15 kills and I can buy the damn thing.
Right. And that's pretty much exactly what it is. And I get the idea, but that's one of the things that I love about those arena shooters is the fact that you have those power weapons to fight over, and you got to know when they spawn up. Now with Gears, you hold the left bumper, and it pops up with everything, and it shows you a countdown for time limit on when those power weapons will respawn. So it's not like Halo where you had to actually know when somebody picked it up, and then know the exact time limit that it took for it to respawn, like a rocket launcher taking 90 seconds or whatever it was. But
It didn't matter. I always went for the shotgun.
Yeah, but that also draws a lot of people out too into actual combat and fight over stuff.
Oh yeah.
it does. I've had so many great battles in previous Gears for trying to get the torque bow.
Mhm.
Like today playing Gears 4, man, we had some crazy battles over the torque bow playing escalation ranked. It was fantastic. It was so much fun, but
Dude, the audio cue for that torque bow though is the most devastating thing you ever hear, because if you see a dude in the back with a torque bow and there's 5 of your teammates, you see everybody just hit a wall and duck. No one's popping up until that
Yup.
torque bow's gone.
dude, that thing is it's more devastating than the boom shot, man.
Oh,
The only more devastating weapon in Gears history to me was the Hammer of Dawn. And
Yeah.
yeah.
That was back when I actually played it a little bit.
giant sky laser.
I loved getting it because that was the only way I could get kills because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. Did you guys have any last points with Gears 5 before we moved on? Because I know there's one more
It plays like every Gears game they've made so far, like mechanical wise, which that's not a problem. It's just
Oh,
it's good they're sticking to a formula. Because I mean, you could say
that's what
the
makes
same thing for
Gears, right?
right, and I mean they've made their own specific formula that works for them, and they haven't changed it because they haven't had to.
All right.
Had
So
about crucified me for that comment. I saw it in his eyes. He
yeah,
was ready to
yeah,
attack.
yep. And that's what I was
He
gonna.
was
That's
like,
why I tried helping you
"Excuse
out.
me? Go
No,
ahead, say it.
I
Say
was
it."
just gonna say that the like the movement is a bit slower. There is some different things on it, but that's what I was gonna say. There are some differences, but I only really noticed them today when I went back and started playing Gears 4 again.
Phoenix is like 60 years old. Okay, if he wants to walk a little slower, he can.
All right.
All right.
So this segment we're gonna have me and Pat talk again, and you guys will not talk because I know you guys hate this game. You guys aren't gonna play this fucking game. Let's hit this one just for a little bit since
Yeah, quick
it's
couple
next week,
minutes.
right?
Friday.
It is Friday, so we can play it over the weekend and shit, and then talk about it on next week's episode.
I feel like Chad and I should be playing Go Fish or something. You got any twos?
Hey, dude, we can play some two-man Uno.
Hey,
That's-
go ahead and load up Golf
yeah.
real quick, Chad. Let's get
Oh
some
my
holes in.
god.
Uno's allowed on podcast, right?
Madden 20
Just not
comes out.
Twitch.
Our good old Raven F was actually able to play it on EA Access, which I don't have, so I didn't. So if somebody wants to start giving us some money, that'd be great. I mean,
I love Madden.
but Raven F was able to play some Madden 20. He sent me a video. I watched one play, and then I thought it was done, so I didn't watch the rest. But it looked extremely smooth. That was the one thing I did really notice, especially he's a fucking Ravens fan. His quarterback is really near and dear to my heart because he's a Louisville Cardinal for college. That's where he came from. Go Cards. But he actually moved a lot like Lamar Jackson did in that play that I watched.
I just want to spend a couple minutes on Madden. Like, if anybody remembers back in Madden 2007, 2006 with Michael Vick, I think it was 2007. Lamar Jackson is even more broken than Michael Vick was. Like,
Just
some
wait
of
till
the
you
plays
play
that I
Mahomes,
got.
apparently.
Just wait, what?
Just wait till you play with Pat Mahomes, apparently, because apparently he's more broke than Vic ever was.
Well, yeah, because he can throw a hell of a lot better than Vic ever could throughout his career. But with Lamar Jackson, like, some of the plays that I pulled off never should have been able to happen. Some of the things that happen, maybe they're bugs because there is a ton of bugs in the game. But yeah, I got some great plays, and the game is a hell of a lot of fun. I played one match online. I beat the kid. He ended up conceding at the end.
The kid.
Yeah, I'm going to call him a kid because I don't know. But he conceded.
I doubt they're older than Patrick.
Highly doubt it. I mean, it's just like every other Madden in many ways. There are some new things that I absolutely love, and we'll talk about that possibly on our football podcast. Take a few minutes to talk about it or something, like maybe near the end of it. But that's Middle of Nowhere Entertainment's Off Tackle podcast, by the way, recording on Thursdays or Fridays. Sorry,
Plugs.
Fridays.
Plugs.
Fridays.
Plugs.
Whoops.
Plugs.
But yeah, anyway, so like just to get off of that, if you have EA access, if you're a fan of football, check it out. It's not bad. Don't let all the negative reviews and all these people talking about all these bugs deter you from it because it does happen. Bugs happen, but they are rare bugs that are a bit crazy and can ruin the game. So
You're gonna start when the game actually comes out. You want to start a season up and do draft and everything?
Dude,
yeah.
Are
Dude,
you
we usually do that every year.
All right.
Never mind. I'll play Go Fish by myself over here.
All right. If you,
No,
I
see,
didn't-
the
I
last
didn't
one
know
I was a
in
part of was
solitaire.
like a ton of work people, and like we would play like our games every week. But like one of Silva's like buddies that was like in charge of doing it kept like advancing the weeks. Like when people hadn't even played their game, he's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm high," and then like the league or like our league just kind of dropped off.
Well then.
Yeah.
Demonetized.
So I gotta show you this really quick. I did not know that this was in Fortnite at all, and this is fucking amazing. Okay, for a Potato Aim podcast, like I'm a little upset about this, but
Oh,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Hold up.
Oh man, that is.
Now we're gonna get
fucking-
copyright stricken.
Well, Tim
Here we go.
has a emote like that too.
It's not the same thing though. Like
Pretty much.
It's a potato
that's-
with a wonky face and a gun. What more do you want?
I'm
Yeah.
so angry about that. Suicide just saw that and sent it to me. But yeah, no, I'm definitely down for that. Like if we're gonna do that, I'll get it for Xbox because I've been debating on whether I was gonna get it for PlayStation or Xbox because I've had some people want me to get into their leagues on PlayStation, but
Xbox.
I have a bunch of friends that have it on Xbox as well, so I'm more than happy to get it on Xbox if we want to do a league, do a fantasy draft or whatever. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Pig, I didn't know you play Madden, man.
Oh yeah.
Like
I played them all. Yeah, I even had the last one.
An athlete.
Dude, I've been playing Madden since like Sega Genesis.
like 96, 95, 96 range because that's
yeah,
about.
yeah. The
Did they have
what was it? The
Madden
Joe
on Sega?
Montana.
Huh?
Did they
Joe
have
Montana
Madden
era?
on Sega?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I don't
dude.
remember it on. I remember it on Nintendo, but I don't remember it on Sega.
Dude, it was awesome on Sega.
Oh
Like
my
me and my brother
Sega.
back before like online, was the thing.
Bumpy feels left
Me and my
out.
brother would always play.
Oh no, I'm enjoying this thoroughly. Go ahead.
I think like the first one that I actually owned was Madden 98 on the original PlayStation. And it took me forever as a kid to figure out how after I created myself why I wasn't like on the team. I couldn't figure out the depth chart thing.
Yeah.
But I was like fucking 8 years old, man. Come on.
You brought this on yourself, Brock.
He did.
Did you guys know that the season of Opulence of Destiny 2 is actually coming to a close? They're going to be doing it for another like week and a half. I'm sorry, everybody was talking about the game they wanted to, so I figured I'd throw in some Destiny bullshit.
No,
hold up, real quick. You brought up this man on my screen. He's below me. I have no idea where he's going to be when this actually airs. But you brought him up plugging. You brought up him plugging in Off Tackle podcast. The other night, on our friend Whoops You Gaming Twitch, we were plugging the shit out of Middle of Nowhere Entertainment, so much that his buddy that he was streaming with ended up just started saying, "Oh, look it, I'm in the middle of nowhere. By the way, go follow Middle of Nowhere Entertainment." Shit. It was phenomenal, and I'm like, because it all started because I went on to Raven F's stream and he missed like 5 shots, which were like decently far revolver shots and shit. And so I'm like, wow, look at that Potato Wave. Which reminds me about this really great podcast, Potato Wave podcast.
I'm hoping we can get to like the level of like success to where we can just rent out like 40,000 carrier pigeons and just like attach our Twitch handles to them and just send them out into the world.
I was
That's
thinking like
where I want to be.
I was thinking like the
Squaggles.
skywriting plane or something, but the carrier
Ooh.
pigeon sounds better.
Well, Facebook will start small. On Facebook they get like little rocks and they write shit on them and hide them.
Oh, and like throw them through people's windows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's do that. Let's start with
It'll
that.
gain a lot of attention fast.
Yeah.
Right.
Even news.
They can't prove it was us.
Free publicity, man.
So this episode, the rest of the episode, we wanted to kind of talk about what games were extremely important to us when we were getting into gaming, what got us into gaming and stuff. Am I starting then? I think.
Way to volunteer, bud. Go ahead.
Yeah, good job.
All right. So I don't know if you guys wanted to get this deep, but
Super deep.
real deep.
Elbow deep.
Too far, Pat. Too far.
Too deep.
I don't know.
I'm gonna Dave Chappelle and climb up in that shit deep.
Oh my god. All right.
We've never been family friendly, so there's that.
Yeah.
So
Rated R for retarded.
I had
The After Hours podcast, everybody.
Oh my god, dude. That's a wrap.
I don't know.
We're gonna cut it
Stumped
there
him.
now.
All right, take it away now.
Do you want me to go? Do you want me to go?
I'll go, but it's about to get serious.
He's like,
So
I
if
don't-
you want to go and keep the mood lighthearted, you can.
I mean, okay, that's fine.
Nope,
Uh,
go full-fledged dark,
the-
Malche. Go ahead.
the first game I ever got into that actually I guess I talked about it in one of our other episodes, but Pokemon Blue was like the first game that was mine that I put just so much time into, and back then I was just I was like 5 or 6. I was like, oh, I'm into my big brick Game Boy. Um, that if you had enough of them, you could probably build yourself a small like 1 bath 2 bedroom house out of. But yeah, I played Pokemon shit ton. I still play Pokemon to this day. I absolutely love it. And then from there, the N64, where I think me and my brother ended up getting one for Christmas. We started playing a lot of GoldenEye. Super Mario 64 was a game I put a lot of time into. My grandma actually had a Super Nintendo. We played Super Mario World, stuff like that. And then my brother kind of fell out of games, but I kind of kept the trend going. I think he got our first like OG Xbox, which he was the typical older brother, never let me touch it, whatever, yada yada. Fable came out, Halo came out, and I think actually one of my first games I had for the 360 that I played a shit ton of was actually a Madden. It was the one with Sean Alexander when he played for the Seahawks. He was on the cover. I think it was 7 or 8.
That was
07 or
07.
08. 07.
Donovan McNabb was on 08. Alexander was on 07.
I played the crap out of Madden for a long time. I had a lot of the NHLs. I liked Blitz. I liked. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Hits was like the NHL version of Blitz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
played
that
that a
game was
lot.
amazing.
Who
Um,
didn't like Blitz though? Like you could
Oh, it's so
literally
fun.
pile drive people into the ground, and like the later versions, they actually showed the bones breaking and shit. Like
Mhm.
that was awesome as a kid.
I think the first like no kidding competitive game I ever got into like was going to tournaments and stuff for like open tournaments around like the area, and we actually went to 2 in Tennessee. Was Halo 3. I got huge into Halo 3. All my buddies were playing it. I remember we would go to LAN parties where they would hold like local tournaments and stuff, and we would have like one we had that was ridiculous. We had 50 teams there, 50 teams of 4 people, and it lasted almost 8 hours straight that we were playing Halo. I mean, we had like round robin stuff like that to where we had like buys and stuff, but that was the first big competitive game I got into, and then I started getting more into like the horror genre. Outlast. I played a lot of Fatal Frame. Um, Resident Evil was always a big part of my like gaming and stuff like that.
Is
Go
that
ahead,
the-
Austin. What?
Is that the house behind you?
That is the house from Resident Evil 7, actually. It plays their theme song and everything like that. But I always fall back to Pokemon. That's just one of my favorite diehard games. And then Skyrim. I think everybody and their mother played Skyrim. I love the Elder Scrolls games. I got introduced to Oblivion pretty young and all that.
So, I was gonna say, speaking of talking about everybody loves Skyrim, the reason why he is turning his back to the camera right now is because the actual first interaction I had with him before we actually started hanging out was he stated he did not like the Elder Scrolls game because it's nothing
Wait.
but walking around.
No, I was fucking with you. I just haven't played Skyrim before.
No,
I actually
this
had
is-
this conversation
This
earlier.
this is exactly what you had told Suicide,
Oh,
that
there's
you
20
hated-
subs gone right there.
that you had hated Skyrim because it was nothing but walking around in the openness.
I loved fucking.
So was the Lord of the Rings, but you still love that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I almost named my cat or Gollum.
I
No.
don't see my kid.
Dobby. Yeah, I named him Dobby. I don't know where.
But going
not
back
lit.
on,
just wait.
my
He's gonna be
little-
on the couch, Brock.
going back
Yep,
on my
yep.
little tangent here. And then I got into World of Warcraft for a while. A buddy of mine, when he moved to my apartment, we played that a lot. We were working together, and we would get off, get back on. I played that steady for like 2 years straight.
That
And
is
was
in a
my
little
first.
while.
Well, I mean, I was late to the WoW phase. I think when Mists of Pandaria came out is when I got on and started hitting it pretty hard. And then I kind of got away from it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start playing the Diablo series. And like I said earlier off the recording, that my first no kidding PC game was Diablo 1. I didn't play it a lot because back then my computer wasn't spectacular. Um, but then I got Diablo 3 for PC. I was playing that nonstop. Got away from PC for a while. Started playing like Battlefield, Call of Duty. I was getting into, um, and then I got into Overwatch. I remember playing the beta for it, and Overwatch just kind of took off. I love the competitiveness of it. I love that Blizzard actually did their first like FPS team-based game, and Overwatch was a big part of my life as far as gaming goes. I think every day we like at least two or three of us would be on there. If it wasn't me, Pig, and Odin, it'd probably be me, Pig, and my brother-in-law John, who's on the stream quite a bit. Um, Destiny also was a very big game that I got into. My buddy that moved in with me for a while, it's Love Machine. He was on a lot of my streams for a while when I first started my channel. We would be doing raids like every single night that we could. All three characters would grind out like all the exotics when they came out. Then D2 came out, kind of fell off because D2 is just not the same caliber game D1 was. Uh, Chad, I don't know if you played D1 with me at all. I think you kind of jumped on there for a little
I
bit.
think I did for a while.
And I mean, D1 it was just a completely different game than D2. But you know me, I'll talk about Destiny all night. But I still come back to it every once in a while. It's just one of those guilty pleasure games for me.
Once in a while.
Yeah, I'll probably be jumping on it later tonight, honestly. But then, yeah, Apex came out. I wasn't a big fan of battle royals. I'd played PUBG and all that, but Apex, it was just a battle royal I really liked. And then now we're here, and we all came full circle. I mean, I had those games where it was like Borderlands. Everybody played Borderlands and enjoyed it for the most part. I was one of those people. Fable, all the mainstream games for a while, and a couple of indie games like Outlast. I mean, I think my Twitch channel actually started shortly after Outlast 1 came out. I streamed it 2 times on PlayStation, and then I was like, you know what? I had stuff going on in my life that I couldn't really dedicate to streaming. And luckily, I'm at a point now to where I can stream pretty regularly. And if it wasn't for my loving, caring wife letting me play all the time and do my channel because she wants to support me and also plays, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And I mean, you guys have also supported my Twitch channel when I first came out with it. I didn't know what was going to happen with it. I really didn't. I had a lot of positive feedback from certain individuals, and even this thing like blew up a year from now, and it turns into something way bigger than what I thought it could. I'm never going to forget the like 5 people pretty much that were like, yeah, man, go for it, like do it. So I want to stay humble about this. Yes, Austin. Again.
And if hey, we can interrupt each other. This is kind of. I don't want you to.
I always know when he wants to say something because he's like.
I lean in.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, making out with my mic,
But-
yo. Oh,
So,
la, 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 la.
I
So-
don't watch Tim the Tatman Pog. Papanga
No,
megaphone,
never.
Papanga
You
megaphone.
can't tell. Hey, I had this look before he did. Just saying.
Yeah, yeet dab. But no,
Um,
that's
Painful.
pretty
Still
much mine.
painful to watch.
Full circle.
No, I was actually gonna say so. When you do blow up and get famous, we are still gonna be plugging Middle of Nowhere Entertainment in your streams, just so you know.
You're like, hey, you remember when you and Odin's Beard? I don't know that name. I don't know that guy.
We're your mods, motherfucker.
Mm-mm.
I'll come over and kick your door down. I kick doors down.
Congrats to Chad for earning his sword. He pulled it from the stone. But there we go. Yep, he's out. We broke him. I'm scared. He could be pulling anything up.
He really
He-
did all
he
that
got
just to
the
grab his
sword.
Minecraft
He got-
All
sword.
Yeah.
that for a fucking Minecraft
That's
sword.
the only
dude.
sword I have that's not a kid's sword and is totally broken.
So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Who's up next?
I'll
Pig, you
go.
want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Games that were most influential in my life. Started off, well, probably playing Nintendo. Played a lot of Mega Man and Paperboy, Super Mario. Duck Hunt was really big. I had the gun and all for that.
Zapper.
Yeah. Believe was Kirby for Super Nintendo or the Nintendo?
There was the Kirby on the Nintendo.
Yeah, I think I remember playing that and actually like being like babysat all throughout grade school and such, and we'd all take turns playing that and Super Mario with or not Super Mario, the Super Nintendo with Mortal Kombat and taking turns with like the controllers. And then I eventually, as time went on, the CDI came out for Philips. It's a game console not a lot of people have heard of, but it played discs and it was like a. They also had like a DVD format for it, so you could play like DVD. So that's where I like first watched like Top Gun and everything at. But then again, they had like the shooting games, and they had like Mad Dog McCree that I played a lot of, where you had like 3 lives, and if you died, you had to start all over again, and it was like the most painful thing in the world to do. And Lemmings, with the little dudes that you can like dig through, like the little like squares they would have. You'd have to like dig or like build ladders and then use like parachutes, otherwise they would just splat. Um, Played a lot of that. Game Boy, Pokemon Blue, Zelda were like my big things. I had like the Game Boy Color, the blue Game Boy Color, and then I had like the red, like a red Game Boy and a yellow Game Boy, and then I had like that old school like brick Game Boy with like the magnifier lens you could put on with the light on the inside. I was like,
yeah.
dude, half the time I would just use that over my blue, and it like I don't know, I just loved it so much more. Just it was probably partly for the magnifying mod you could put on it.
Ran on 4 AA batteries.
Yeah, the gigantic brick you could knock somebody out with. And then played a lot of Sega Genesis. Me and my brother would always play the Joe Madden version. I don't remember what year it was, but we would play the crap out of that game.
Joe Madden.
I wasn't gonna correct him.
God damn it, John Madden.
Joe Madden.
Cubs manager had a game back.
The great value Madden game.
God damn it.
I wasn't letting that go.
Madden. My bad. I was just kind of going with it, and then
His less successful brother Joe Madden.
Yeah, I had like stacks.
Joe Madden is the manager for the Chicago Cubs and has one World Series to his name. So I mean,
I don't think he had a game for the Sega Genesis though.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, dude,
Anyway.
there was a and Sonic. Sonic was really huge, like back in the day. Just playing that. Like my parents had a rummage sale with my Sega Genesis and all of our games and sold it for $5. I was livid.
That's $5 ever spent, bud. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I know. Somebody walked away with that.
Hey, I have my Sega Genesis. I'll sell it to you for $50.
$53.
Oh Jesus, that hurts.
$50. I got games too.
See, I wasn't the only one pissed about that situation. My dad was pissed too because he always brings up the time my mom sold his original Rock'em Sock'em robots in a garage sale as well. Yeah, never lived down.
How are they still married?
I don't know.
How is she still alive?
I don't know.
I don't understand. I don't know either.
Oh, man. And then moving on to like the N64, like GoldenEye, The World Is Not Enough, playing multiplayer with like my brother and my buddies in that. Zelda, like Turok.
Turok was awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
Super Smash Brothers, Mario Party, Mario Kart, all great games. I'm glad that they remade those for the Switch.
Remember thinking those had great graphics as a kid, though?
Oh, they were mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you go back and try to play it now, and you're like, oh
now
my
it looks
god,
like
my
fucking
head hurts.
Minecraft.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah. And then when I started getting really big into like computer gamings, it was StarCraft all day, all night with my friends, like turret defense and just like being on like the co-op, like being online playing with other players, like you and your friend, like versus like I think like the maps were like 6 or 8 players. Then slowly like as I started getting into like PC gaming, then like Diablo 2 was like really huge. What really started kicking off my PC gaming was like when Arma 2 came out. They had a DayZ mod and an Exile mod, which were like survival-based games where you could just build your own base the way you wanted it to, have all the vehicles you wanted, all the guns, and go out and like do missions that were like a part of the mod. Then Arma 3 came out and then they had the same mods for it. DayZ became its own shitty standalone. Everybody knows how that ended up.
I actually have a story, real quick to interrupt you, Chad, about the first time he brought me and John into Arma 3. So we roll up on our first mission, and they don't tell you that it's not like every other game where you can be like 5 feet in front of the guy and kill him. So me and John are just trucking along towards the enemy. They're about 400 meters out, and Chad's about 500 meters the opposite direction in a good shooting position. And he's like, you guys might not want to, and we just get smoked immediately. And I'm like, what just happened here? And you just hear like snaps and cracks of like shots going around us. Chad's like, yeah, this game's like pretty large learning curve. You didn't notice with all the like 5.56 rattling your bodies right now.
Huge, yeah, insane learning curve. Like a safe distance, 1,500 meters out. Otherwise, you are targeted. If they have anti-aircraft or tanks or any kind of vehicle, you come in within 900 meters and you're smoked, dude. It's like everything's strategic. Yeah, everything. You just gotta sit back. Like when my brother plays with me, he sits back with like a lynx, like 1.6 meters out. He'll zero out the scope and he'll just pick them off as we're like in like the danger close area trying to take out the rest, or sitting up with like laws and stuff like LATs and hats and taking out vehicles. But it's fun because you get to build this massive base and you have your safes that you put like your food, your water, your guns in, and then you have like up to I think like 100 to 200 other players. They're on this huge like vast like map that it'd take you like a day if you were on foot to run across. But then they can come and like attack your base, tear it down, steal your stuff, steal your flag. And you have to like do the missions and like scavenge and sell stuff for like pop tabs, which is like the money in that one. Let's see what I'm trying to think of other there's like so many games I've played on PC that I have. Huge survival game, like what was it? Was it seven nights one?
Oh, I don't know, but I downloaded it for a while.
7 Days to Die.
Yeah, that one.
7 Days to
Die. H1Z1, and just any survival games. I've backed a few that I'm still waiting for to like come out and see, like Dead Matter. Then like Xbox games, like I was huge Halo fucking fanboy, huge nut. Like that's literally all I used to play in middle school and high school with my buddies. Like game variants like Shoddy Snipes, like where you sit up on the tower and just defend it and wait for everybody to rush you, and zombies, and just like racing around the map, screwing around. And then they had like their own mod creator where you could like build like your own race map. But
the Forge.
Yeah, and like just the glitches alone in that game, like when you would play hide and seek and zombies, like literally made that game. I got really big into like racing games, like the Forza series, Dirt Rally, all that. Like that's all me and my buddies would play, and my brother. You could sit there and tune every aspect of the car, so we would always drift and like have drift leagues and like drift online with other players and such. Overwatch was really huge. That's literally all we played for the longest time.
It was like a solid year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Great times, right?
I remember the three of us did like the 3v3 for a while, and we were actually pretty damn good at it.
Hell yeah, we were.
That was back when I was good at the game.
It's back when everybody was good at the game.
Yeah,
you get on now, it's like I feel like I'm an 80-year-old in a lobby with a bunch of 10-year-olds.
Yeah, it got fucking bad.
Oh.
Yeah, there's been hundreds of games far in between, but those are probably the most iconic ones just because I get to play with like friends and family.
You had a big run on GTA 5 for a while too, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, GTA 5 and the mods that came with that, and getting into servers like the real life servers where it was all about you have to fill out like forms if you want to be on an EMT or police department, and like the big time servers for that I got to be a part of for like their law enforcement agency. Painstaking process. You have to go into TeamSpeak and sit there and wait to be interviewed and accepted into it, and then you have to, in order to stream anything even remotely close like on that server, you had to have like all this permission to even do that because it was their content, their mods. They were already like they're big YouTubers like Jeff Favignano. So they have like all their content that they want to do. Then they set up like scenarios where you have to like go out and like they would be like, all right, go here. You'll get some like crazy ass fucking call and you have to respond and be professional. You can't be racist. You can't like make fun of somebody for being like a younger age, even though like they can be like higher ranked than you in like the system and stuff. You have to be like pretty much be as professional and real as you can. You can't break character. Otherwise, they're like, yeah, you're gone. We've got other people to replace you, you know. Yeah, it got
It's like
crazy.
a second life, man. It's
Yeah, same. Well, it originally the game variant started out on Arma. I used to play with like Psy Syndicate, who was a big Twitch streamer back in the day. Then he'd have like his Tacky Stanny Life and all sorts of other game variants on that. And I think it changed his name and such now, but that was a long time ago.
That seems like a lot of work. I already don't like having to deal with the work in my life. But
Dude, I had thousands of hours into GTA and Arma. Like it like with like me and my brother and my buddy Ryan. It like Arma when we started getting hard into it, like literally consumed my life. Not as much as Halo did or Call of Duty, but it was up there.
Pat, do you want to go next, or do you want me to, bud?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. So, I mean, I started gaming back on Nintendo. You know, I remember getting the NES system on Christmas, probably when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and getting the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. You know, the one that was the combination of Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt in the one cartridge. And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. That was, like, when I was a kid, that was my absolute favorite behind Legend of Cage, which I talked about on a recent episode. You know, like, I absolutely loved it. I know Legend of Cage is such an obscure one.
1.5 stars. Or 0.5 stars. I can't fucking remember.
Yeah, I think it was like 0.5 out of 5 or whatever. But, yeah, it's, you know, like, the Nintendo was such an awesome thing when I got it when I was a kid. And, I mean, I got it when the Super Nintendo was already out. Like, we got it a few years before, like, the 64 really started coming out and everything. And then when I ended up getting a PlayStation before the Nintendo 64, and my biggest games on there were like all Madden games, really. I was a big sports gamer when I was a kid. I mean, I still am, but Madden, FIFA, like I remember playing FIFA 97, FIFA 98, something like that as well with Madden, like NBA Live 96. And I would turn off the fouls and everything on NBA Live 96, run around on the PS1 and just foul people all the time. And I don't know why, but I always played as the Houston Rockets on there. And I would just run around and like push people over, take the ball, run down the court, score, come back down the court again when they got the ball, foul them to where they got knocked to the ground, take the ball, score again. Like I ended up playing one game, like 5-minute quarters only.
Bully.
I ended up winning like 256 to like 14 against.
Well, yeah, because they all got broken ankles and concussions down on the other end of the court.
Now we know why he rages so much playing games now. He's not used to losing because he turned off all the settings to make him win.
This is an NFL Blitz, man. You can't be doing that.
So, and then like speaking of NFL Blitz, like me and my friends played that all the time. But there was another game, I don't know if you guys really remember, NFL Extreme and NFL Extreme 2. So on the original PlayStation, like I had the NFL Extreme 2, and it was similar to Blitz, but like you literally powerbomb people, you'd slam them, you'd hit them with the DDT, you could rip people's helmets off and then smack them in the face with their helmet, you would rip their jerseys off, and like
who hurt you as a person?
I'm
like, are you okay?
I'm proud that he knew what a DDT was.
He's like, yeah, you guys remember Manhunt? I used to play that religiously.
Do you want me to get into Manhunt? Do you really want me to get into Manhunt?
Dude,
I
wish
get him started.
I'll leave it.
I wish they would make a third one.
Another one for a while now.
Yeah.
Was that Rockstar?
Yes.
I'm
I
looking
can't
it
believe
up.
I'm blanking on. I can't believe I'm blanking on this. Anyway,
Keep
so
telling
like,
your life story. Go ahead.
and then like me and my friends all would get together on 64, play GoldenEye, play Perfect Dark, and we would always have like big, tournaments or whatever with all of us. And then that was really what got me into like competition. I thought it was Rockstar, but I couldn't really remember. Yeah, 64. Sega Dreamcast was another one. Like NFL 2K, like when it was before EA bought the rights, when it was Sega's NFL 2K. My friend would always turn off the penalties for like offsides, and I wouldn't know it. And he would come offsides and stand right next to me when I snapped the ball, and he would
Oh,
get a sack on me
jeez.
like every freaking play, and I couldn't figure it out, because I was like, what the fuck is going on? I would get pissed off, and I would throw the controller down, and I would like storm off. But that
No
was also
way!
I know. But that was also the one where like you could pick your plays on the UMD or whatever the hell it was called, the memory card that had the screen on the Dreamcast. Like you had the setting to where you could see your plays on the memory card and not on the screen. So like he would do that shit all the time. That was my buddy Daryl when I was a kid. We all went like growing up together. He was such an asshole about that shit, man. God, that still pisses me off to this day when I think about it.
Yeah, how dare
I
he
know.
stop you from screen cheating?
It wasn't screen cheating.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, and then getting to like the PlayStation 2 and everything, like me and my friends, my buddy Dave, Gary, Keith, like we'd all have Madden leagues together just like we all do. But it would always be at my buddy Dave's house, and we would all go over there and like play, we'd all play our weeks or whatever, whether it was against one another or against the computer. And things would get so fucking heated during these games, man. Like it's crazy. One of my old buddies, Devin, he was a diehard Cowboys fan, man. All he would do is run off tackle runs the entire game. And then once you started to stop him, dude, if you think I'm bad at raging, he would jump up and down, stomp his feet, throw stuff through the air, grab pillows, just start beating shit with pillows, beating us with pillows, man. Like he would go ape shit. It was fucking hilarious. Like looking back at some of this stuff, man, like I said, what, go ahead.
I've seen you do a lot of that.
Not as consistently as he did, man. This was the every time we got together to play thing, man. We played NBA like 2K, NBA Live seasons together, man. Like that was a big thing for us, was doing all the like seasons together like that, multiple user seasons. And then like my buddies Eddie, Brian, JJ, like we'd all get together. We'd go over to Eddie's house and we would all take our Xboxes over, system link it, playing Gears or Halo or whatever, Madden tournaments. Like looking back at it now, like so many things we did growing up was always competition. Like there was always competition one way or another for like me and all my friends, man. There was always a winner and loser, and it was so much fun to just hang that over everybody else's heads. And then with the 360, like getting farther into it, Call of Duty is probably the biggest thing for me for multiple reasons. Like I wouldn't be here in Illinois right now without Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is how me and Suicide actually met. Majority of people don't actually know that, but we have a friend that just recently passed that we were in a clan XGC together, and I ended up joining his game, and she was in his game, and she was just running through people going like 45-3 and shit like that. And I'm like, holy fuck. So, we start talking and all that shit, and, the rest they say is history. So, yeah, literally the reason why I am in Illinois now and with her is because of Call of Duty. So how can that not, be a big impact on your life? You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. And that's why I still have so much hope for Call of Duty.
I think Bumpy had something. He looked like he had something to say there.
That's just true love right there, man. You can't beat that. I mean,
true love is finding somebody that can carry you through video games for the rest of your
Absolutely.
life. And I love how I just heard a damn it right there. That was funny.
Yeah, she did just hear a damn it right there. She died.
She's like, you got to pick that KD up or this wedding in hand. Just letting you know that right now.
Call of Duty was the first system that actually broke my Xbox 360 on and the games multiple times. Like I'd always kick the shit out of it when I would get pissed, and it would just grind that disc. That was like the infamous thing on the 360. You tilt it, it's done.
Right around
yeah, broke so many controllers playing that game.
Man, I'm trying to remember. Like, I remember I had bought the old LG Envy phone, like one of the ones that was like the touchscreen on the front. And then you flip it open, and it's got the screen and the key, like the full QWERTY keyboard. I can't remember what fucking game I was playing, but I was still living at home and everything. And I stood up and I was getting pissed off at the game. I threw my fucking 360 controller down, like the first edition 360, and all of a sudden I heard this loud ass fucking crack, and I'm like, no. I looked down and the fucking touchscreen on the front of my phone was completely fucking obliterated, dude. Like the lines going everywhere, black. Like all you could see was the time, and like, oh, dude, it was fucked up, man. Like I was so fucking pissed, and that was the first moment that I really experienced my own personal rage. Was at that moment. And
no one man should have all of this power.
Like I remember back in the day playing Call of Duty, like I would get yelled at by her brother for like him telling me that I'm going to blow out his eardrums and his speakers and his Turtle Beaches and shit. And supposedly one of our old clanmates told me that, you know, supposedly I did blow out somebody's speakers one day when we were playing Search and Destroy. Because I had almost got a nuke on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in Search and Destroy. I literally had 24 kills, and it was the last fucking round to Search and Destroy. And the enemy teammate, or the enemy team planted the fucking bomb. It was me and one other teammate. And I'm like, dude, you fucking find this guy. Let me know, man. I'm 1 kill away from a nuke in fucking Search, dude. I got to get this fucking nuke, man. He was like, all right, I'll let you know. So he finds him. He's like, hey, he's over here. And it was the one map, I can't fucking remember. There was like a U.S. embassy. There was the water, the bridge, and the Humvees on the bridge and everything off to the right side. And bomb site B, I believe it was in between like this cafe that had like all the tables and chairs and shit flipped upside down. And then there was this little street with sandbags. And then there was like this little fucking platform, like a patio, whatever.
Oh,
and
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so he was laying inside of that little patio area, listening for when people crept up, you know, because everybody was sound horn back in the day with Turtle Beaches, Tritons, Astros, everything. So this dude's literally standing there, right? And I fucking round the corner. He's like, he's over here. I come fucking hauling ass down there. I got my fucking Spaz 12 out because that fucking thing was absolutely ridiculous back on the game. You know, Spaz 12, UMP 45, Marathon Lightweight Ninja.
Care package glitch.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I didn't do none of that shit.
Oh, I always did.
Sure.
Run around really fast and just stab everybody.
Yeah.
My ass.
So, like, I get up there, and no joke, this fucking dude looks me in the eye on the game as I'm jumping up, shoots the kid in the back of the head, defuses the bomb. Dude, ooh. I lost my motherfucking mind at that moment. 24-0.
Woke up in a field 3 days later covered in blood.
24-0 on Search and Destroy on Modern Warfare 2. Almost fucking had a nuke, man. And this motherfucker robbed me, dude. Oh, God. Fucking damn it, man. I was so fucking pissed off.
You're mad now.
Dude, I am.
His face is getting red.
Yeah, I know it is. I'm remembering these moments.
Flashbacks.
I am. Like I'm thinking back to it in my mind. Like
PTSD.
I can see it in my head right now, like as it's happening. Jesus fuck.
Has anybody here legitimately in a Call of Duty game gotten a nuke? I've only gotten one. Legitimately in Modern Warfare 3.
I've gotten a few on Modern Warfare 2 and Team Deathmatch. Mostly on the newer like it was a snow map with the shipping containers everywhere and shit. And then one on that same map, actually. I was playing Domination. I got a nuke on it. Not the same one, but the one I was talking about for Search and Destroy. Scrapyard, I got one. And High Rise, I got one.
He says he did, but he, like, it's the what's yours is mine thing. It's actually Suicide that actually got them.
Well, since the team got it, I technically got it too. It's, you know.
I remember getting, I think my first nuke that I ever got was on it was like the grassland with like the hedges and the two fields, and then it had like the tunnel that went through the center.
Wasteland.
Yeah, that was my first one, and then my other one was on like the desert with the downed Black Hawk on it, and then you had like the cliffs and the archway. Like
you talking about the plane? It was a down plane in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was like a cave or whatever.
Afghan. Yeah, that one was Afghan.
Yeah, I remember getting them on those.
I never got one, and Bumpy, you'll find this out when we do our 12-hour COD stream when the game comes out. I'm bait.
You're always bait.
In the middle of every.
Have you seen our Apex gameplays? I have to use you as bait.
Come play Fortnite, buddy.
Be like, hey man, why don't you go ahead and drop artillery? I'm all the way over in Skulltown, just not even.
Here's this peacekeeper and other close range weapon. You run in there and tell me where they're at.
You do the best you can, sport.
All right, so before I go on another tangent and start getting pissed off thinking about the
it's-
games, I'm done. Odin, yeah.
You just hold up real quick. You getting pissed off reminded me of the first time we played Fortnite together.
It's always Fortnite.
Or not even the first.
You always come back to Fortnite.
This was the drunk Fortnite night, where us three played with Suicide Girl, and I impulsed you off the mountain, and you got pissed.
Dude, I was so fucking pissed because I was trying to complete those
play
challenges.
this a certain amount of time. Like, dude, you're off tomorrow. You can play it all night. Shut up. All right. So I said mine's gonna get a little bit more serious. Well, first off, I started playing video games back at SNES I remember my uncle bringing over his SNES and my dad and him playing. I want to say there was the Spider-Man game, one of them on SNES, and Super Mario World. And my dad ended up picking one up for him and me because at the time my middle brother was way too young to play video games. But me and him would play Super Mario World and just have a good time and everything. That moved on into other SNES games like Turtles in Time. Absolutely love that game. Those two games, Super Mario World and Turtles in Time, are still two of my favorite games of all time. Like not much is going to be able to touch them. Played Aladdin and Lion King a lot back in that day. There was a Hook video game, which Hook at the time when I was a kid was probably my favorite movie of all time as a kid, with Robin Williams playing Peter Pan and everything. It was fucking hilarious. That we also got a Sega Genesis at one point, so I played a shitload of Sonic. I got some NFL games. I remember getting Madden. I want to say Madden 97, 96, 97, something like that. But I also got an NFL Quarterback Club video game where you would literally do like drills and like moving targets. You had to fucking figure out how to throw them at them and shit. I'm a 5-year-old kid. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, but I would always pick like Warren Moon because I liked Warren Moon and I liked the Oilers uniforms back when I was 5 years old. What do you got, Pat?
I was gonna say I definitely remember playing the hell out of that as well, and for some reason the quarterback I always chose was Brett Favre.
It explains a lot.
I think it was because the one that I played.
Fiance just heard that. Just saying.
She's focused on her game. I think it was because he was a cover quarterback when I was a kid, like on that specific one. I don't know if it was the same title.
I don't think so. I think like Vinny Testaverde or some shit was the cover quarterback on mine. It was some random. It was like Hammer Boomer Esiason or some shit.
That tells you all you need to know about that game back in the day. Wasn't it like by 989 Sports?
Bad. It was bad.
I'm pretty sure that was 989. It was either 989 or Acclaim. Yeah.
It was bad. But I played that game a little bit because I had to get my NFL, my football fix. I want to say I got NHL 95 or 96 also. And those old hockey games, they were a lot of fun, but they were just so bad too. They were a lot of fun, but like now I'm playing hockey games and I'm able to like deke and shit. And it's just so much better. It's more realistic.
Sweat coming off Patrick Kane's hair.
Yeah,
dude. Me and my brother would get over in so much fights over the old NHL games, dude. Like just getting like Patrick Waugh and we'd always fight about who got to play like. Yeah, we always started our fight out with like who got to play as like Colorado Avalanche because they had a stacked team, dude.
They had Waugh. They had
Foot.
That was it.
No, did they have Sackett?
I don't know if they did
for a minute.
I don't know if they did on that one, but they had like Foot or whatever however you say it.
I didn't really get into
Wayne Gretzky
until I want to say 2006. is when I started really getting into hockey on an actual sports level. But yeah, Sonic and Mario and Turtles in Time back in those days were always my go-to. We picked up an N64, like these guys have said a few times. GoldenEye was a mainstay. I played a lot of like the wrestling games back then. So they had like No Mercy. They had NWO, WCW, Royal Rumble. WrestleMania 2000 was one of my all-time favorites. I'd create characters and shit, and it was just a lot of fun back then.
Did they have a Doom for? Was that for the N64 when it originally
Doom
came
64?
out? Yeah, I played a
Yeah.
lot of that, and then like the old original South Park game too.
Duke Nukem.
Dude,
Duke
Chef's Love
Nukem.
Chef.
There it is. Yeah.
Duke Nukem was amazing
Oh
as
my
well.
god.
Oh
I
yeah.
love that game.
And then they made that terrible remake that everybody just absolutely hated.
I didn't touch it. I wasn't going
I
to.
played it. I played it out of respect for the old ones, and I really wish I wouldn't have. I think I paid like $2 for it at a garage sale actually, and it was just so bad.
Pat, that meme is terrible. He sent it in the group. Bumpy.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and I'm not proud to know who he is as a person.
No, that's awful. It was a Wii meme for those.
Oh man.
No.
Man, put
Oh,
Put
yeah,
the
I
phone
saw
down.
that earlier.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I know.
But then like those, the mainstay, GoldenEye and shit, and Smash Bros. And I don't really. Tony Hawk, wasn't Tony Hawk on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I couldn't
Forgot
remember
about that.
what system it was on for a minute. But yeah, that I put a lot of time in. Then I think we got a GameCube next. And like I've said a few times, I have two younger brothers, so we got stuff that we could all play and all that bullshit. I played a lot of Need for Speed back in those times.
It was Midnight LA Club, which was.
There was
Midnight Club 3-Dep
Yeah.
edition.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
Yep.
The customization in those games.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And back then, that was like the boom of the Fast and the Furious franchise and everything. You're just like, oh, I'm just like Paul Walker and Vin Diesel and all this shit and making your fucking cars and everything. And it was so much fun. I got like a Mario Kart for that Double Dash. I got that for that system. I had one of the NBA Lives, and all I remember about this NBA Live I want to say it was like one of the first games where they put the dunk contest in, so you could do dunk contests. So me and my brother would just go back and forth playing dunk contests like crazy, and we figured out how to do like 360 between the legs, behind the back, like the Vince Carter arm in the rim and everything. We figured out all the specialty dunks.
Yeah.
So when people would come over, when our friends would come over and be like, oh yeah, I could beat you in that. No, you can't.
Cheating ass.
Because we didn't look this shit up. Also, then there was Age of Empires, because I was pointing and everything, because Bumpy and I and Raven F were talking about that before. Age of Empires was always one of my favorites. I'm surprised no one actually mentioned any of these games. Backyard football and backyard baseball.
I didn't really play them all that much.
What?
I played backyard baseball like twice.
Pablo Sanchez, he's a fucking god. He's the best athlete to ever grace the earth in any sport. He legit was so broken in baseball and football. It was just, once you got him, you won every game. It didn't matter. I actually was lucky enough to win a PS2 back in grade school. And
You went to grade school?
yeah, middle school, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But then we got more sports games and shit. But that's when we started getting GTA games.
Oh boy.
I don't think
Oh,
my
yeah.
parents knew what they were at the time. We got GTA 3, and I played the shit out of that game. My brothers never really got into that until San Andreas. I think my youngest brother got into San Andreas, and that was it. My middle one never really got into games that much, other than sports ones.
Vice
Uh,
City was trash.
I loved Vice
That's my
City.
that was my least.
I loved Vice City, dude. It made me think I was fucking Scarface.
Scarface.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it, because Scarface is one of my favorite movies. I played the shit ton of that, played more fucking Maddens and shit. It was right around that time that I told you guys this might get a little serious, but it was right around that time that I started to use video games as like an escape for shit. Like, I started dealing with depression and everything, so I'd like escape into fucking video games, into other worlds, even if they were just sports worlds, playing franchise mode and everything. I didn't have to think or fucking deal with shit going on in real life, and that's what a lot of games have done for me now. I did get a 360, and that was the Halo, obviously. That was pretty much the main game. But that's when I met Raveneth, and they're like, "Oh yeah, play COD with us." So real quick, the two that don't know, the fucking, you know how you have clan tags?
Hmm.
Ours was FCWM.
Do you guys know what that is? You ready on 3?
Hold up.
Okay.
Real quick. Our bosses came up with this, by the way. It was the fucking
Catalina wine
Wine
mixer.
mixer.
Oh my god.
And two of our bosses that played games with us fucking came up with that shit.
One of which we work with now.
Yeah. You three work with them. But we'll tell you after. It was just a lot of fun, because we'd get like 6 people in there fucking playing COD. And then PS4 came out, and we picked up Battlefield at the time was one of the first games that we picked up for that. Fun story, I jumped into one of his games, ended up on the opposite team, and I'm shooting this guy driving at me on a quad on ATV. Kill him. The quad's still coming at me. He spawns on the back of the quad, and I shoot him in the head. One shot him.
Jesus.
No,
It was fuck.
that wasn't. No, you got that reversed. You're
Oh, it
thinking
was
of the video.
reverse? I thought it was.
You spawned onto the quad because it was your teammate. I was shooting your teammate.
Give me
You
a
spawned
break.
onto the quad.
12:20. I have to
I
be
know.
up in 4 hours. I'm
I
tired.
know. That's what I'm saying. You spawned onto the quad after I shot your teammate and you ran me over. That's how.
Yeah,
that
that's
down.
what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm tired.
You're good.
I'm
It's
doing this for you guys. All of
Hey,
it.
you are bringing up a lot of games that I forgot to even go over.
Yeah, I
Just
was
like
I'm
rattling
trying to
off
hit a
is-
lot of games that you guys
Yeah.
didn't hit.
Yeah, because you get that mindset and you just like start going with it, and then you get done, you look back, you're like, man,
well,
there's so many.
there's so many games. Period.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any of us hit like Street Fighter. I think Pat hit Mortal Kombat for a minute.
Or Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
But also back then, I've been playing fucking. I'm gonna hit this one. This is probably gonna be my last one, because they know what I play now and shit. And if you don't, you haven't been paying attention. Exactly. I think I was like 21 years old, I started playing League of Legends. I haven't played it for about 4 months now. Maybe the addiction is gone, but I've gone about this long and played one game and got sucked the fuck back in. I replaced it with a new addiction, let's be real. But League of Legends back then, I started just playing it with a few friends and everything. I remember going over to one of their houses one year because they had the World Championships. It was literally an outside stage with like a couple tables and some computers that the tournament got like suspended for a good hour because the servers crashed, and Moscow 5 won, which Moscow 5 ended up turning into Gambit Gaming, Gambit Esports, which a couple of you guys might know now because they ended up being a pretty big esports company. But I remember fucking sitting there on a couch with the fucking computer or laptop pulled open to this stream that we had to fucking search forever for to watch this thing, and that still is probably one of my favorite games to watch, at least because the competitive scene is so intense and so big now. Like fucking there's teams 100 Thieves. I don't know if many people know this. Everyone knows 100 Thieves now because they're a huge esports organization. Their majority owner is the Cleveland Cavaliers owner. FlyQuest majority owner is the one of the Milwaukee Bucks owners. Like Clutch Gaming, owned by the Houston Rockets. There's a lot of big sports teams get into the esports scene, and they're putting a lot of fucking money into this league, especially that it's amazing to see, and I still absolutely love watching the pro scene.
Oh yeah, it's not going anywhere for quite a while. Same thing with the Overwatch League. Robert Kraft is heavily involved with it, as well as many others. You know, which Robert Kraft is the owner of the owner of the New England Patriots, by the way.
I wonder if he's bringing people from Overwatch League down to his little masseuse in Florida.
Deflate the controllers.
We can only hope.
Oof. And I'll just end it like Angry Pig and Bumpy have mentioned it. We played a shitload of Overwatch, and at the time I was a diva main, and I would say we were all really fucking good. I was a diva main. We had Angry Pig being a fucking soldier main, and Bumpy would pretty much rock Reaper and Junkrat most of the time. And then we had a couple others that would play with us. So we had a full squad most nights where we'd play about, because at the time we were all on a shift. We were on the same shift working like 3 to 11, and we'd go home and our significant others or whatever would go to sleep. So we'd hop on games and play until fucking 3 or 4 in the morning, drinking beverages, and it was a lot of fun.
Beverages.
It was beverages. I had a problem back then, but I got rid of her. Oh shit! I'm really fucking tired, guys. We need to wrap this up. I had to say it. But yeah,
I like it,
guys. If anybody out here watching this one, this episode, thinks of any other games that you guys played as kids, put it in the comment section. Maybe it'll jog our memory. We'll pick out some, talk about them next week. Oh, yeah. If it made us like, oh shit, yeah, I remember that game. I played the shit out of that one too, or whatever. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and also I would love to know why everybody else got into gaming as well. You know, like what are your reasons for getting into gaming? Like why did you start? Whether you were young, older. You know, were you a child, like elementary school age? Were you middle school, high, whatever? Whenever you got into gaming, you know, I'm just kind of curious. Like, I'd love to hear why people got to that point.
It's like Ready Player One, man. Real life sucks.
Graphics are terrible.
You're not wrong. But I think we're gonna wrap it up here now. Make sure to be on the lookout. Thursday, we will be recording the second episode of the Crimson Mask podcast. That podcast, the first episode really blew up. I had a feeling we'd do decently well because we do have a lot of friends in the wrestling business, but how much feedback and everything we've received from that podcast is amazing. Hopefully we get some crossovers with all 3 different podcasts being out now. And then Friday, Off Tackle Podcast, myself and Raven F are going to be recording, and we will be going over the NFC and AFC North. This week, it should be posted on Friday because I don't have to rush out and go to a show. But do you guys have anything to add for the rest of this episode? An hour and 40 minutes in?
Wow.
I love Lamb.
I like turtles still.
I'm gonna go sleep for 4 hours and then I'm gonna go work for 5 and then come home and take a nap. Thank God it's my short day tomorrow. But we will be back next week. I know Raven F and I will have more Madden talk, so Bumpy will be excited.
Also, with the Modern Warfare multiplayer reveal this Thursday. So we'll kind of be talking about that next week as well, covering that, going over all that information that we see and how we feel.
Definitely. I didn't know if that's how you were going to end there for a minute. But yeah, we will see y'all next week. And I did just say y'all. Fuck. Until then, make sure you hit that subscribe button. See you guys. Bye.
Deuces.